Weak, dude.
Okay, your turn. Let's see all the YouTubers here. You smoke a grip beforehand, or? Watch out here, bud.
You got the guy.
Let's do that again. I'm gonna catch a vertical in this shot.
I got too much dad bod going on. Aw.
Camera, too much pressure.
Too much pressure on you, Max? Hello, and welcome back to Hunter Tuned. Today.
Oh, fuck.
You just hit your head?
No,
Today we are working on the truck again, and we're going to be doing some fuel system upgrades to it, because obviously with the turbocharger, with more added airflow, we need more added fuel as well, and the stock fuel pump and stock injectors are not going to cut it. Actually, the stock injectors will cut it, but not with the factory caps on them. I'm going to be decapping them, flowing them, and then reinstalling them into the truck, and then we're going to get a tune loaded on and see how it runs. In the meantime, I did actually take the truck untuned. I ran like dog shit, died at every stoplight, and I went and picked up this motor from the junkyard. This is a 4.8 liter out of an 07 Chevy van, like an express van. 4.8 liter, Gen 4, but it still has the rear mounted cam sensor, which is what I was looking for. So this is the big rod short stroke motor. And you can also tell it's a Gen 4 by looking at the exhaust bolts. The exhaust bolts are all 13 millimeter, so it should have the good connecting rods in it. And yeah, we're gonna build this motor up for my Mustang, but just wanted to let you guys know that I did get another motor, because the first motor that I got ended up having a hole in it, and I did not see that when I was at the junkyard. So anyways, we are going to get to putting a fuel pump in the truck. And Michael's already got a head start. He kind of did the first procedure of putting a fuel pump in an old rusty Chevy truck.
Max did.
Max helped you too?
Yeah, just like
Holly Banana Pancakes?
No, Cletus's dog.
Holly Banana Pancakes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Just like it's Morgan or something. Jeremy's dog. He tunes.
Oh. Oh, right on.
Max pulls out bedliners.
Okay, good boy, Max. You did a good job. Okay, so it is a little bit dark out right now, guys, so I'm sorry if you cannot see, but I did get the bed liner yanked out of the truck because we are going to be cutting an access panel in the bed for access to the top of the fuel tank to get at the fuel pump. And yeah, I could just fucking pull the bed off, or I could drop the fuel tank, but I'd rather not touch any of the rusty shit underneath there, like all the bolts that are holding the frickin' gas tank and the lines going into the gas tank. I feel like every time I do this, it ends up turning into, oh, I need new fuel tank straps, and oh, I need new bolts, and oh, I broke a frickin' line, and I broke this and broke that, and yeah, I'm not interested in doing that on a truck I paid less than $2,000 for, that is rotted to shit. This isn't like a looker by any means, and the bed liner is going to cover up the hole anyways, and if I really wanted to get fancy, which I'm not going to get fancy, but if I were to get fancy, I could put little brackets on it and like have a flap door, but whatever. I've done this on every freaking truck I've turboed. I've always cut holes in the bed. It just makes it easier, especially with a turbo car being, you know, more of a maintenance thing, because if your fuel pump, you know, goes out, or you end up running out of fuel at higher boosts and stuff, and you need to play with the fuel system, it's a lot easier to get at the stuff than having to re-drop the tank or re-pull the bed out or whatever. And like I said, if this was a super nice truck, you know, maybe I would consider not doing this, but it's not a nice truck, so get over it. Okay, so this is the general area we're going to cut the hole. I'm probably not going to cut the right spot, so the hole's going to be a lot bigger than it needs to be. But we'll figure it out, one of these cuts. So I'm going to start by just kind of cutting like up here, down here, up, over, like a big square. Like all in this area here. And this is on the left front corner of the bed of the truck. So I'm just going to hook up my extension cord to my cutoff wheel and get to cutting. Damn it! We missed. Some bitch. Gotta cut a little farther. Look at that.
Dope.
Alright, now we're done making noise.
See, it looks perfect.
Alright, we could just fucking tack this back on, too. Technically.
Yeah.
And then just cut the spot welds
Yeah.
if we need to take it back out. Look at that.
Those are small fuel lines.
Yeah.
They're really not that big, I know. Need some dash fucking 20 out of here. Okay, guys, so we got the hole cut in the bed, and now we have access to the top of the fuel tank. So as you can see down here, there's a connector that gets plugged in here. 2 of the wires are for the fuel pump power, and then 2 of them are for the sending unit for the gas gauge. Just unplug this guy, and then you have 3 different lines that come out. The one on the right is going to be your fuel feed line, and then you have an evap line, which we cut up at the top if you remember from watching last video. And then we have the return line. So I got all the lines disconnected, and I have the harness for the fuel pumps assembly. I have that unplugged, and now we have to get the ring off of the fuel pump, which this can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes they're pretty stubborn and rusty, like this one is. And what I do is I'm just going to soak this in WD-40 for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to just pound at it with a chisel. So I'm just going to take a chisel and try to pound it left, and then it'll get off of these notches here, and then the ring will come up, and then the fuel pump will come out with it. So I'm just going to continue trying to pound this to the left, and hopefully we can get it. Like I said, sometimes these are really tricky, and you break the rings and all that stuff because the fuel pump rings are always frickin' rusty, at least here in Wisconsin. Okay, guys, so I got the fuel pump. What?
Should we do an unbagging video?
What is it? This.
What'd you get? Alright, we'll start with mine. 3 soft shells, no lettuce, yeah, not tacos, I don't eat rabbit food. And then a quesadilla. Oh, the camera's down there.
Beefy Frito burritos.
Oh.
Into something.
And I got a fuel pump. So, anyways, I got the fuel pump and assembly out of the truck. Shut up.
Are you angry?
No, I'm just fucking tired.
Alright, good night. Bye, you.
See you later. Okay, so I got the fuel pump assembly out of the truck, and this thing pretty much is like a big old basket, and the fuel pump sits in this part of the basket. And I already kind of got it torn apart. There's just like 2 little clips on the sides that you got to pry off, and then this whole bucket comes down, and then the fuel pump sits inside the bucket. This is the feed line that connects to the top of the fuel pump, and then you have a sending unit that clips onto the bucket as well. It clips onto the bucket, this piece right here, where my thumb is. I don't know, bucket, basket, fucking junk, whatever. So anyways, I took the factory power wires that are going into the factory fuel pump, which is down here. I already yanked it out. And the connector is different on this one versus the Walbro. But the Walbro kit actually gives you a male and female connector. So I actually just took the male end of the connector and I wired it into the factory wiring. And now I'll be able to just plug in the Walbro and unplug it as needed. So first, I did want to do this too because I've had issues in the past with these trucks with starving the fuel bucket because the bucket pretty much will fill up like 3/4 of the way, and then once you like stomp on it and you have a lot of fuel flow going through here, it can actually suck the bucket dry sometimes. And I had that issue on one truck, and since I did on that truck, I've pretty much just done this mod on every single one of them since. So what I do is I just cut the whole bottom of the bucket off. Like slice it right about here, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna cut the bucket, and then once the bucket's cut,
will be fully tuned.
And then we'll just cut to that, and then the other guy will be like, holy fuck, you didn't film anything. You're not a very good YouTuber, dude.
You knew how to get there.
Yeah. I'm sorry, people, that I didn't film a whole lot of stuff building the truck. I just, you get carried away when you're actually doing something. I feel like a lot of YouTubers, they'll be like, oh, dude, how to change your spark plugs. It takes me like fucking 10 seconds. I'm not going to film that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I try to overview it for you guys so you get the idea of what I'm doing. But and then some days I'll have a spree of like, oh my god, I filmed everything, and then people freak out and they're like, oh my god, such a good video. So I probably should do that, but yeah. Sorry, not sorry. It is what it is. We'll get some good videos at some point, but this channel is pretty sporadic. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. It's just who I am. I'm a sporadic type of guy.
Yeah.
Got the fuel pump in. Got the bucket cut, so the pump just sits on there. Like that. Does a little happy dance. It's held in by the factory hose. I just used the factory line that came with this because the one with the Walbro isn't long enough. And this one actually didn't break when I took it off, so I'm just going to reuse the factory feed line here. And we're just going to throw this thing right back in the truck. Hopefully everything works, and then we'll get on to doing the fuel injectors. Okay guys, so now that we got the fuel pump all installed into the truck, no leaks, everything is working how it should, and we got proper pressure up at the rail, so we know that the fuel pump and everything is working how it should, like I said. We are going to be moving on to the fuel injector side of things, and Michael is just pulling out the injectors that are in the truck currently. They're just factory, normal truck injectors that come in these motors, and we're going to be swapping them out for decap truck injectors that I sell on my website. Or we could just decap the ones that are in here. Either or, we're going to swap them out for a set of decap stock injectors. And I'm kind of going to demonstrate how to decap an injector and how to flow them with like a basic flow tester. I just have a basic homemade flow tester. I don't have like a super fancy one, but it works and it does the job and gets you a ballpark of, hey, this injector is bad, or this injector is good, or these ones are misflowed, etc., etc. But this is a factory truck injector right here, and to decap them, you have to remove this bottom O-ring right here. So we'll just take this O-ring off, like so. Put that off to the side, and then you have to also remove this little cap on the end. This is the black little cap that holds the O-ring. So I just take a little pry bar and I kind of pry up on it, like so, and you remove that little black cap, and that will expose the injector cap itself. So you can see there's 4 little holes down in there. Hopefully you guys can see it on camera. There's 4 little holes right above where it says K right there. And we're going to be grinding that cap off using a bench grinder. This is what I do on all these injectors. I got a bunch of dust up here and shit and old injector caps because I do this frickin' all the time. And I wore into my bench grinder this much because I've been doing so many of these damn injectors for my website. But pretty much what you want to do is you want to grind on the face of the injector here at a slight bit of an angle. So when the grinder is spinning, I like to set it off to the side just a little bit. You don't want to go like this, too crooked, because you do not want to grind into where my fingertip is right here. It's got a little step, and if you grind into the bigger portion of the injector, not just the top part, it will leak and it will flow like shit, and it's going to pee crooked and flow crooked and all that kind of stuff. So if you do it this way, usually the injectors are good. Some of them flow a little bit less, some of them flow a little bit more, but for the most part they're going to be safe to use. If you're like on a budget and you can't flow your own injectors, or you can't buy a set of mine or send them off to Eric Durr or anybody like that. I've done this on the last 2 trucks I did, and I never flowed them, and they worked, and I never blew the motor. And I ran 24 pounds of boost, way too much, ran way too much injector duty cycle. I push these damn things really hard, harder than a lot of people should, but I do it, and I went 990 on E85 with my Mustang with them, and yeah. But anyways, I'm going to grind this sucker down, and I'm going to show you how it is now, and then I'm going to do it quick, and then show you how it is after. So, only a slight bit of angle. So we're just grinding on this top face right here. We're not going to be grinding into the stepped portion, if you know what I mean. And now the cap flew off. So we're left with just this big wide open hole. And that's what we're looking for. So after the injector is decapped, I always take it to the wire wheel. and give it a good clean. And there you go. That's pretty much basics of decapping. And then once you're done flowing it and everything like that, you got to put the little black piece back on and the O-ring on the bottom, and then you're all good to go. But now we're moving on to flowing them. And like I said, I just have a basic setup here, nothing crazy, but I'm going to kind of demonstrate what I do for flow testing and what a bad one looks like versus a good one, etc., etc. So Christian, if you want to come over here and try to help me film this quick.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to empty out these graduated cylinders. I have 4 graduated cylinders here with like a basic truck rail, and it's just going into a disposable gas can and all that. So we're just going to flow these 2 ones on the end. And I know I've already tested these ones, and I know the one on the right side is a good one, and I know the one on the left of it is not necessarily bad, but it's clogged up or dirty, and if they're clogged, I just throw them out a lot of the times, because I have a stockpile of them, so I can just grab another one. Okay, so I'm going to turn the fuel pump on. I have this regulated at about 40 psi. Normally when I test these and I give you like flow ratings for like 1000 cc or 750 cc, that's mainly at a 58 psi base pressure, but for this test we're going to be doing it like 40 psi-ish. So I'll turn the pressure on to the rail here. And now that the rail has pressure, I like to check all the injectors with the graduated cylinder off, and I like to see if they're starting to weep fuel at all. So like this injector right here is not weeping fuel at all. This one's good to go. So that one I will continue to test. I'll check the next one. That one's not weeping fuel. We'll go to the next one. And look at this. It's actually dripping fuel out of the bottom of the injector. There it goes. Okay, so this one is leaking a little bit, and when we flow it, you will notice that it flows different than the other ones, because if it's leaking like that, it's either A, clogged up, or the pinto's messed up, or something like that. And like I said, to make it easier on myself, I just chuck those ones. You can clean them out and try to get them back going again, but like I said, I'm just going to turn these guys on wide open. We're not going to pulse them or anything, but we're just going to turn them wide open just to get you a basic fuel flow test. So I'm going to start a stopwatch, and we're going to flow them for 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So as you guys can see, the one on the right is flowing considerably more, almost double the amount of the one on the left. So like I said, with that one that was weeping, it's gonna flow usually like shit, and it's not gonna flow straight. So if I turn the injector back on, they piss crooked. And when I say they piss crooked, they don't have a steady stream of fuel coming out of them. They usually have like they'll spray sideways or something like that.
When you turn it off, it did it?
Yeah, when I turned them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one right here is just kind of sporadic, and it's got a shitty kind of fuel flow to it. And I can usually see that, and I could be like, okay, that one's obviously bad. So we'll just take that one out, we'll swap it out with a different one, and we'll just redo the test and get a set of even injectors, and I'll show you what those look like once we're done with this. Alright guys, so I just swapped out this third injector right here, and we're going to redo the test again. So we're going to turn this on for 10 seconds and see how she does.
That one's pissing crooked.
The one on the right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's leaking. You can see it. So we got another bad one here that we'll have to swap out. This is a prime example of why you want to flow your injectors, because you could have injectors like this that when you put them in the motor, they end up, messing everything up and all that. But we'll do the ones off to the left here and see how these guys are. These other two injectors that are in here, so we can show you what good ones look like side by side. Wow. These injectors are not happy. So this one's messed up as well. We'll have to, like this one over here is a good one. I know how much they should flow. And this one is right around where it should be, around 95 to 100 milliliters. And then this one is also kind of right around where it should be. This one's a little more, 110 or so. But these ones here, you don't want to put these in your motor because these ones will flow like shit. Not enough fuel for that. Alright guys, and after a little bit of messing around, you'll get a set of injectors that are flowing good and even, and these ones are all like perfect. So I'm going to be throwing this set of 4 in with another set of 4 that was just like this. And there we go, we got our decapped injectors ready to go. Sometimes, like if you get these things from the junkyard, I've noticed a lot of times from my experience that if like the vehicle's been sitting for a long time or it's had like water and shit on it, or you know, they've just been sitting, the injectors a lot of times are dirty from sitting there and they flow uneven and all that stuff. So I mean, it's always best to get a flowed set, and if not, you know, just send them off, get them cleaned or whatever, and then have them get flowed, or just buy a set of flowed ones already done for you. But yeah, anyways, that's just kind of the basics of what we just did for injectors on the truck. Now we're going to throw them in and go make some choo-choo noises. Okay guys, so injectors are installed. We actually just drove this thing around for quite a while, and it's doing really good. It's on 5 pounds of boost, about 140 kPa, whatever that equivalates to. The gauge says 5 pounds, the scanner says 140 kPa, and it's doing really good. Like honestly, nothing's wrong. 11.5 air fuel ratio all day long. Like 15 degrees of timing. It's super conservative. Cruising around is great. It's freaking awesome. I started with one of Matt's bass tunes and kind of smoothed out what he had, and just kind of tuned from there, and it runs really good. So I'm super stoked. Be sure to watch out for another video coming in the next day or two on HP tuner stuff. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the fuel upgrades that we did on the truck, and now you know that the truck is running great, and we're making choo-choo noises.
It's on 49, or sorry, 5.9
Pounds of boost?
pounds of boost.
Is that what 140 kPa is?
Yeah.
So, anyways, have a great night. See you later.
Put it in the comments if you turn it on.
Should we turn it on? I don't know. We'll see. Okay. See ya!